through the years, I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. Well, I recall a box of rags that someone gave us, and how my mama put those rags to use. Now, there were rags of many colors, and every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of.
Hi, my name's Logan Wells. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm a singer-entertainer. I perform nationally, regionally, and locally. And on my time off, I love to cook, not only for my family, but for friends. And I love to entertain. And I was thinking one day that there's all these chefs and cooks on the cooking channel, but none of them sing. So I am your singing chef, and I would like to share with you some of my favorite dishes that people tell me that they love, and I'm going to teach you how to cook them. So welcome to my kitchen. And the first thing we're going to make is some eggplant parmesan, which of course you're going to need some eggplant. I got this out of my garden. You're going to need to have about 6 to 8 of these. I'm making a double batch because I like to have one to cook to serve that night and then one to freeze for during the winter time when you're looking for something really nice and hearty to eat on those cold winter nights. This is a perfect dish for it. And of course, if you're going to cook Italian, the first thing you need to do is pour yourself a glass of red wine. It's healthy for you. 1 glass. So I happen to have some here, and help yourself. While you're watching this, you can pour yourself a glass as well and enjoy. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is chop up some mushrooms. I know what you're going to say. Some people don't like mushrooms, but I guarantee you they won't even know they're in there. I like to add them just because it's healthy and it adds a little bit of meatiness to it. And the people in your family or friends that say they hate mushrooms, trust me, they've never even mentioned that they're in there, so they won't even know. Now, I have about 4 single packages of mushrooms here that I got at the grocery store today. If you want to take the quicker route, you can get the pre-sliced. However, I'm pretty frugal, and these were on sale, so I got the whole ones, and we're just going to slice them up ourselves. So, just slice them kind of, you don't want them real thick, but we're just going to be frying these down until they're slightly brown, and just chop away. Okay, so we've got the pan preheated to about medium. You don't want to get too hot and burn them. I'm adding a little bit of olive oil and about a half cup of butter. I like to use a little olive oil and butter mix. We're going to let that melt down, and after that melts, we're going to add our mushrooms to it. Which I've got so nicely cut up here. We add those to the pan. As I said, you're just going to fry those until they reduce down and get a little lightly brown. Okay, so you want to just cook these until they're like lightly brown, just as if you were going to serve them with a steak. And boy, do I wish we had a steak right now. But anyway, these are cooked down to just where you want them to be. Alright? And we're going to set these off to the side and get started on our onions and garlic. Alright, next part is our onions and garlic. And I like to use a little mixture of onions. So I'm going to use 2 red onion and 1 yellow onion because I'm making a double batch, remember. So if you're only going to make 1 batch, remember you're cutting all of this recipe in half. Cut my onions, peel that. Chop these up, and you don't have to chop them up real fine unless you don't have one of these. And I'm going to talk to you about this in a minute, but we're going to use one of these to chop this up nice and fine. Just taking my onion. The other half. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is working on my onions and garlic. I've chopped them all up fine. You don't have to do them real fine because I use one of these little mini food processors. I love these. I could not live without this. They cost $5 to $10 in the store. You can find them in a lot of places, and you definitely want to get one of these to have on hand because it makes things so much easier than sitting there trying to chop up things real fine. I like to use it in place of chopping up garlic real fine too, so then your hands aren't smelling of garlic for days. So anyway, you're going to take a little bit of this, throw it inside here. You don't want to fill it too much. Toast that a little bit. Just small. About that fine. That way you're not getting big chunks of onion when you're biting into something. I don't like that. I like to have it kind of just a lot of the flavor, and once this kind of cooks down too, it's going to be real moist and you're not going to get real big flakes of onion in your mouth. So I'm going to take that and we're going to dump this right into our pan, which we are going to fry these in. And keep adding to it. Okay. So far we've done about 4 batches of those. My last batch I'm going to add my garlic to because it will mix in there a lot nicer than trying to mince up the garlic inside here by itself. Sometimes you got to give it a little shake to get all that down here. Rather than getting fresh garlic, and you can use fresh garlic if you like, but I like using this stuff that's already pre-minced. And again, I'm not the kind of, I just don't like when I get a big chunk of piece of garlic in my mouth, so I like to take this and mince it up even further. And we're going to put 2 big heaping teaspoons. Actually, we're going to do 3, since I'm doing another batch. Added that right in there like that. Smooth. Now you've got lots of garlic flavor without all those little pieces in it. Alright, we're going to take this over to the stove and go fry it up. Okay, now we're adding some olive oil again to our onions and garlic. And here's that last bit of mixture, which you can get out with a spatula. And again, you just want to get this cook until it's nice and clear, the onions are clear, and it's heated through real good. Because this is what we're going to add to our meat and sauce, which is going to be our filling for the eggplant parmesan. Just kind of give that a little stir, and we're going to let that cook a little bit. Okay, while our onions and garlic are sauteing nicely over here, we're going to fry up 3 pounds of ground beef. Just want to break that up. And I'm putting this in this type of pan rather than a big fry pan because then we can just start adding our other ingredients to it. This is where we're going to be cooking our sauce once all this beef cooks down. And I'm also going to add, and you don't have to, but once in a while I like to add a little more flavor to it by adding some pork. So I bought a little bit of pork sausage that's already been pre-ground. And you don't want to get anything that's heavily seasoned or anything. We just want a lot of nice pork flavor in with this. And you're going to put that inside there and cook this all up until it's all nice and browned, and then we're going to drain. Okay, so our ground beef and our pork is cooked up. And we're going to drain that. And kind of keeping an eye on our onions and garlic over here. And it's just getting nice and clear. And again, it'll kind of get a little lightly brown, but you don't want to burn it. Draining our pork. Okay. Right there. Now, if you really wanted to be really heart healthy, You could rinse that beef, but I like to keep some of the fat in there for flavor. I think it just adds some flavor, so it's up to you. Otherwise, you could rinse this in hot water and let it drain.